What's going on, ladies and gents? The legends from Skyton Crypto University. We here. We back at it. Episode 38. On ramp for Skyton Crypto University, stablecoins and USDT, and the CZ of Binance, a hero or zero. Tonight, in the words of Steve, we're going to talk about it. So, what you want to start with first?
We start with the president.
Ooh, okay.
All right, listen. So we living in a wild time right now, right? Where the message can't land because of the messenger, right? That's the number one thing that I see out here. It doesn't matter how well somebody could articulate something, whether it's Kyrie Irving, Kanye West, Donald Trump, Biden. Like nobody can say the right thing nowadays, right? So back in March, and this is where you have to listen. So I'm gonna connect a couple dots real quick. So last year, I can remember a talk that Jerome Powell had one day where he was speaking to the institutional guys and the bankers. He was like, listen, you guys have to hurry up. We can't hold this much longer. Right. And I had pointed out on a prior dot connect, and I didn't really know what he meant by it. So I thought it was like integration, things are happening. You know, we're constantly telling you about all the everything going live in the Eurozone. And, you know, we're kind of following everything east to west, right? This is how things are happening. But this is the normal occurrence to how things happen in the world, right? It's easier for the United States to play dumb with this emerging tech, but understand that we as a country do control the marketing of things, right? So when Jerome Powell said that, I was like, oh man, I was one of the guys. I'm like, shit, we're far behind. Like these guys are running circles around us with the adoption. And then they let out little things, little narratives in the media where it was like, the United States is behind. And then you hear like Coinbase and Kraken, everybody saying, listen, we're going to go overseas with our stuff. And I'm just like, but this ain't the market. You know what I'm saying? You go to these other countries, you don't have the likes of JP Morgan Chase, Vanguard, BlackRock. Like these guys are, when you talk about centralized governments and people like really being sheep, that's probably the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? This country still has a ton of opportunity that most people can't amass in other countries, right? So when he said that he couldn't hold it back much longer, at the time I didn't know what he meant until probably like 2 days ago it came to me. And for obvious reasons, because everything that Champ and I said is happening and is materializing in the order that we said it. But like Champ, I hate to be right about this stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's not why I'm saying this stuff. I'm just I'm connecting dots. And I told you guys, the reason that I got into crypto is because I had ultimate clarity. So I shared intimate story of taking, a mushroom journey a couple times. And one of my mantras in it is, God, I'm drawing a blank on it. Crypto. It's just kind of like my real estate and crypto mantra.
Mm-hmm. Crypto is the play. Crypto is the vehicle.
Crypto's the vehicle. Real estate's the play. Crypto's the vehicle. Real estate's the play. Right. It's been a minute since I said it back to myself. So now the past month, November was probably one of my toughest months with Skyton Crypto University. Right. Toughest month in the sense of like so much has been going on. Champ and I are working on partnerships, the Link2 situation. We just got the partnership with Stripe. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to start launching. We have our own on-ramp, meaning now you can start to buy cryptocurrency from us directly on our website, and then you send it directly to your wallets or wherever you're sending it to. So, and then there's just so much implementation that we're looking to put in for 2024, the Helium project, real case use. Things are happening. We shot something on that today. I'll drop the link in here today first before we start to post it. So with that said, I start with Biden, right? So I started with Powell. Now next is Biden. Biden talked about, they threw out a lot of wacky tax situations, right? Oh, maybe we'll tax crypto 80%. But then I'm like, hold on. What that was doing was it was really masking what he was really saying, right? So now we have to kind of reprogram ourselves in the way that we understand things, right? So when Biden says tax crypto 80, 90%, we turn off everything else. We're like, none of this shit makes sense, but all of it did make sense, right? He can't do the 80, 90%. No one's going to go for that. One. What he did say was wash trading is a big problem for cryptocurrency. Understand? There's a lot of Republicans who are opposed to the amount of money that he wants to pour into the market to protect the industry from wash trading. Guys, it's a real problem. Champ's been telling you this for 2 years, and he's been saying this way before with the Tether situation. We told you how that the Tether pumps creates liquidity in Bitcoin, and then all things flow through altcoin. I'll live with it. You know what I mean? Because this is what the industry is built on when there's no rules and regulations. So if we told you the NSA owns the technology behind the 256 hash behind Bitcoin, then that means everything else follows. Okay. So we're starting to see the surgence of Bitcoin, and then ETH being second dominant. They'll get whatever they get, but they're about to get pulled in a minute too. Now, when he talks about wash trading, right? Let me just define what wash trading is. So it's basically a form of market manipulation in which an entity simultaneously buys and sells a financial instrument. Okay. So when you look at these exchanges, Kraken's numbers came out the other day, and Kraken, put a 1 in the chat if somebody ever traded on Kraken, and give me a 2 if you never did. The champ, just man it. Let me know what's happening.
Bunch of 1s.
So people have used Kraken?
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to tell you something about Kraken. Kraken showed almost $50 billion in fees. Okay. Kraken is not one of the biggest crypto exchanges. The biggest crypto exchange is Binance. Okay. Write this down. 90% of the industry's transactions run through Binance, whether it be Binance or Binance.us. Okay. So when the FTX thing happened, okay, what Sam did was Sam went over to CZ. That's the only person that would buy an exchange like that, and revealed that he wanted to sell, started showing some numbers. CZ picked up automatically. It takes a thief to know a thief. Right? So when the CZ thing dropped, I purposely didn't post anything. No 90-second reel, nothing. Because I was just sitting with it. Like, there's a little more than this. I watched the narrative change with CZ. He went from being a fraudster to openly admitting to committing fraud. We don't even know what type of fraud, right? To then paying $4 billion, okay, to let the exchange live on. And then I started to watch the crypto industry champion this guy like, yo, CZ is the reason that we about to hit this bull run. And I'm like, nah, that don't make sense. CZ took the easy road out. When they bought CZ in, the exchange for it was the government took over Binance. So if 90% of the crypto transactions run through Binance, who you think's in charge of the crypto industry right now?
Binance.
Who's running Binance right now?
The government. Hello.
So every 90% of the transactions that ever happened from the beginning of time, because when I got into cryptocurrency, these exchanges wasn't even around. Understand, the market was in like South America when I got in. And then South America took off with the bread, shut down. And then from there, it was like a little low. I think I might have had Bitmart, the longest standing crypto exchange. Yep. Like if it wasn't for Bitmart, I wouldn't have no crypto. I wouldn't have no XRP right now. Yep. Zero. Yep. That was the only exchange that didn't take something and just leave. Okay. So fast forward to these new guys that are here. Of course, there's more money, more liquidity in the industry, just more things were built out in the industry. So when you hear wash trading, guys, and you hear Washington, start to pay attention to it, because that's what these exchanges are doing. Okay. And the reason I know that these guys are doing it, one, there's no regulations, and why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it? You create liquidity, you have people FOMO in. The wild part about the Sam Bankman situation is, yeah, they talk about 115 years, but you don't even know the amount of projects and devastation that kid has created in this industry, because the part that never came out in the court filings is things that I've known that this kid has done. We never pushed the FTX situation. We might have posted it one time when it came down to like on-ramping, but never FTT coin, never nothing. And the reason why I even pulled back from him, even from before, is because everything that these guys were doing were off chain. You couldn't see it. So the same thing when we introduced you guys to the DeFi market, we know the entire market was off chain, right? But it was one of those situations where you call it wash trading, call it a Ponzi, call it whatever you call it. It never stops until the money stops, right? So when Terra Luna set off that first catalyst, that's when the chip started to fall, right? All those liquidity pools, everything was just wrapped around that Terra Luna, but he wasn't able to create it once. He created it twice and 3 times before he became like America's most wanted, Interpol, everybody looking for him right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So these were the guys that were at the head of the table. And I want to apologize for what EYL did the other night for cryptocurrency. Guys, just forgive those guys. They're young men in they're young boys in a grown man's sport. It's not their fault. They just don't know what they're doing right now. Okay. But I commend them for even trying. Right. So A for effort. I just need to get that off. So Terra Luna created the problem, and then FTX, it just showed the cracks in crypto, right? Because we know we only invest in case use. If you're part of the 1%, you know what we mean. You're starting to see the implementations, you see the partnerships, you see the opportunities that are here. So let me get this out. There's no ETF approvals until you get stablecoin regulations. Okay. The framework for the last G20 was in India. They already gave the framework for cryptocurrency, right? They've been fully digital since 2016. So those were the test markets, right? You have a country where 1% of the population are taxpayers. That's a problem. Can you imagine the US had 1% of the United States were taxpayers and everybody else was evading taxes? We wouldn't have no roads out here. Like they wouldn't be anything. Okay. So with the tests in India, you got the different countries in Africa that were rolling out their CBDCs and everything. We put you guys onto this. This is when you think about one world order. I never clearly understood it because I'm like, we're so different. But then now I'm starting to see it with clarity now, right? One world order is really CBDCs in the way that you control people.
Absolutely.
So government holding, now being able to use technology to control the masses. And the reason why it's important for them to do it, because shit's just getting out of hand with the internet. Like even just having these conversations, you couldn't do things like this unless you were like in person back in the days. Now information is flowing freely. They tried the conspiracy theorists. They tried the tin hat situation. Now all of a sudden it's like, since the pandemic, we don't sound so crazy anymore. Right. And we've always told you the truth is crazier than the lie. So pull up the chair. So when he talks about crypto washing, this is like wash trading. This is happening. This happens in the stock market. This is happening in crypto. So now when they allowed these young guys to build the technology, the JP Morgans, the Vanguards, the BlackRocks, State Streets, the big boys, they were just sitting there watching. Champ and I have always told you these guys have been implementing. They know the innovation. They will not let something go by and innovate and make them kind of disappear.
Right.
So there is no banks disappearing, guys. I'm sorry to tell y'all that. Now, there's going to be 2 worlds that people live in. There's going to be a super centralized world, and then there's going to be the people that understand the back door the same way that you could live in society today. When you could amass a certain amount of wealth, it doesn't matter what you do in the world. Donald Trump said this a long time ago before he ran. He was like, listen, I can shoot somebody on 5th Avenue and still become president. And you see it. And this was like way before he had aspirations. So that guy is a visionary. He's also an idiot, but he's a visionary, right? And you got to be crazy to do the shit to just live off land and create for your own and have a fuck it attitude. You can't be all the way right. Meaning you're not tapped into to how everybody thinks. You're not going to conform. Same thing with Elon Musk. I could agree to disagree with the guy, but innovation, right? He flicks off. He's one of them at the end of the day to me. But for him to flick off all the advertisers, where most people will call it career suicide, but you know what he has? He has the people on his side. Absolutely. So for as long as you have people, you will never fail at anything that you do. And you always notice, like when celebrities fall off their high horse or anybody, OJ, what's the first thing they do? They run to who? The people.
People. Yep.
Right. But you get so big that you disconnect from the people until the machine no longer needs you. Okay. So Champ and I built this. And the first thing that we said when we came together was, listen, we're not going to be compromised by anything at all. So now yes, we have the partnerships now that are forming, but it's in our control. Right. They're not coming to us. We're coming to them. And then when we get to that point where they start coming to us, we know who we are. We get to sift. We'll never put the people out there and put profit over people. Never.
Facts.
Never. And if I did it and he's my partner and he fuck with me, he's wild, and vice versa. So we got guys on both sides holding each other accountable. So you guys are in good hands. So wash trading is a problem. Okay. These exchanges are buying and selling against us. The exchanges are changing the fees and the rates. We can't calculate any of this stuff, right? I buy one day from Coinbase. I'm thinking I could pull it off. They're like, oh, it's a 10-day hold. I needed to make a move. Then I buy something again. The next time it's a 7-day hold. Then I buy something over here. It's a 65-day hold on uphold. Right. Then they release $1,000. Okay. So this is why it was important for us to have our own on and off ramp that didn't require anybody to hold anything, because that's what we're doing in the banking system right now. I don't need you to hold my money for me. And then when I need it, there's a problem.
Absolutely.
I want access to it. So we're at a pivotal point right now where these banks are failing. Understand the picture of what's going on in the government right now. So the United States, the dollar was dominant, right? It still is the world reserve currency, right? It was controlled about 85% of what happens in the world. Okay. Now it's dropped to below 60. I'm hearing high 50s. So that means there's other countries going other places, but that's no surprise because we've told you this before. Right? All these countries, BRICS, you just follow that situation. These are guys that are just trading in their own currencies now. So we go back to when I started to look at economics and the financial landscape in the world, not just my circumstance, because that's how I lived my entire life, was just worried about my pockets. Like I didn't know how government, I didn't know how recessions, until you get older and you start like, oh shit, okay, I can see how this thing is happening right now. But when you're young in college, going through whatever in 2008, that's where I was at. It wasn't really a big deal, right? I did know things changed because I used to, I had a garage, a couple cars in there. That was just things was flowing, and all of a sudden things stopped, right? So when I go back, I'm starting to see the same trend and pattern now. So when you live your entire life as if you're in a recession, you kind of move weird anyway. So you're not dialed in. So when I start looking at it, I'm like, oh shit. So the pleasures that we were afforded here in the United States comes at a price and detriment to people in other countries. And it's not until you start traveling to these countries, you start to witness it. So you just think about it. Every time you leave airport to go to a hotel by whatever means of transportation, you see more poverty than anything. Right? This is for me. And I'm pretty sure this is how everybody's traveling if you pay attention. So our dollar has caused so much destruction in the world. Okay. But then you start to think about it and you're just like, what if China or Putin was as dominant and forceful as the United States? Like, what would our lives be if somebody could come here and do whatever the fuck they want? It would be so great. Right? So with that said, we have to start paying attention to this administration right now. And then whatever the next administration, this administration will usher us into stablecoin regulations for sure. Right? The next administration would definitely usher us into the entire framework of cryptocurrency. Okay. So now that we have these ETFs, what you guys have to realize is, I looked at the ETF filings the other day. So I was pretty ignorant to what all that they had to give. So I'm like, all right, why are these things getting declined? Nothing in the declines mentioned anything about exchanges. You know what the two biggest issues were in the ETF filings? USDT and USDC.
Hello. Right?
So when you take those two, they probably equate all the onboarding comes through those guys. Right? What's next? What's third?
Probably be a major Bitcoin.
No, not even that. Just from stablecoin.
Oh,
Tether, USDC. I don't even know what's third. It doesn't even matter.
Right.
I've never on-ramped anything besides that. And there's other stable coins that are out there. So when I looked at the filings, they keep getting denied. Well, the person applying has to give their take on what is what is the major problem in the industries. And it wasn't, none of it said CZ, none of it said Sam Bankman, none of it said exchanges at the end of the day. And I know why. Now I'll get to that. They talked about the stable coins, right? That was the biggest problem. Washington knows everything about the whitewashing. So when they went after CZ, it didn't take them no time. And think about the timing of this, because CZ has been banned in Europe for quite some time now, over a year. Okay. He had to shut down operation here in the United States, even after opening Binance.us, right? They were really trying to conform properly. But the issue is, when you have the biggest exchange in the world, where is the best place for you to wash money or wash trade?
In plain sight, the biggest exchange in the world.
The biggest exchange in the world. So I was telling Champ the other day, I'm like, that's not an easy thing to do, because now you have not only you have delegates, you have institutional guys, you have mafioso, you name it. Some of the most notorious people in the world coming to your exchange, right? CZ had a group that traveled the other day. Where'd they go? Not Sri Lanka. Remember, they got kidnapped. Did you guys hear that story?
I ain't catch
that. So they were doing a talk somewhere. It might have been Malaysia, somewhere. And there was probably 4 or 5 people from his company that flew out to go do the talk, and they had their cold storage wallets on them, because this is what people do. You carry your wealth with you. They kidnapped them, and they end up draining the cold storage, forcing them to give up the private keys. Listen, you're going to give it up. There's a gun to your head, or you're going to transfer it out. So that's what ended up happening to them. But they caught it in time, and I think they blocked probably like 80% of the transactions they were able to block.
Okay.
Everybody made it out safe. Okay. So now you fast forward to 90% of the industry runs through here. So when CZ gets picked up by, now understand, the feds are swooping in now. So Kraken's up next. You had a lot of major hacks, and that we'll do another talk about this, but there's been other major hacks that have just happened within the last 2 weeks on exchanges that are notorious for having problems. And I've always told you, the hacks are not really hacks. They're coming from in-house. These people are taking things from us. This is why they never teach you cold storage. This is why they never teach you, self-custody, buy and move. You understand? So, all right, we got that part. That's easy enough. If you don't listen, then you just deal with whatever's going to come with it. Now, when I'm looking at the filings, I'm like, all right, so now they have a problem with USDC and Tether. But then I'm like, but Circle and Circle USDC is back. Vanguard and them have money in it. So now I'm wondering, like, but they also have money with FTX. So what these guys are doing is they're putting the money into certain parts of the market. What you guys don't realize is that FTT coin pumped right back again once Sam Bankman was found guilty. Who's running the show over there? The United States government still owns it. What they did was they broke down the pieces. So the money that Robinhood had in there, Vanguard and all that, they get the money back, but they get it in the form of shares. So every time a regional bank will close down, so they don't have a contagion, what do? All the big boys get together and they bail the bank out. Not even the government, the banks are bailing the banks out, because they know, listen, we're all on borrowed time. So I can't throw stones in a glass house right now. See what I'm saying? I'm a bail champ out, because I know I'm part of this shit. I got to make sure this guy doesn't go down with the ship. So when I look at the filings, I'm like, all right, so these 2 stable coins are the problems. Here's where you really connect the dots. The bond market in the United States, this is how the United States sells debt all across the world, right? They're able to sell these treasury notes, and they sell them to countries. China holds a whole shitload of this. What BRICS Nation was going to do and is going to do is, when they come together and they start to form whatever the movement is, they're going to start to take back a lot of that that dominance that we once had with the dollar, which is already happening. It's dropped significantly in the year. Don't listen to what these guys are telling you. We're in trouble, right? But they're going to use. I've watched crypto be used as a vehicle to fund a war, start a war, sidestep sanctions. So we're talking about how powerful this thing is. You could easily make it go away. Why are governments still adopting it? Right? They needed a horse and pony show to let the tech grow. Okay? That shit ends now. You're going to start to see people get locked up. So CZ didn't even put up a fight. right? He just like, I'm done. $4 billion fine, which they paid. If a CEO of a company, if I get caught up in some embezzlement, I'm taking funds from the students, how do you continue with the business? And you were my partner.
It looks wild.
Right?
Right.
So FTX is really owned, I want to say Robinhood has a $600 million position in FTX right now. So when you start looking at the ownership of FTX, that exchange is going to be around. That exchange is owned by institutional guys now. And the United States government has eyes on it. So once they repo, they're in. And you have to understand the blockchain is open, but now they're able to really see the inner workings of it. So when you hear that story of CZ being a martyr, don't buy into that thing. That guy took the easy route out, right? Because he knew how much information the government had, and he knows how it's just stupid if you commit a crime on the blockchain today. With the way things are. Every single transaction is tracked all the way to where it started to where it ended.
And it's immutable.
It's immutable, right? So now that CZ's out the way, the government has every single transaction, and this is where all the wash trading was happening. So this is a good thing for us, but it's a bad thing because now they can bring out cases on anybody they want at this point now. Okay, but they're looking for some big fish right now. So with that said, when I talked about the treasury notes, the United States, they had an auction the other day for these treasury notes. So what's going to happen is as BRICS and them start to transact in the new form of currency and things like that, they're going to start to take those United States treasury notes, send them right back to this country, right? So it's similar to somebody just, when you go to these other countries, they start to use their currency as it's like paper, it's worthless, so they're making trinkets, they make hats and all sorts of shit. And then we're buying trinkets. So this is how people are treating their paper currency because it's of no value because the United States was so dominant. So now that this bond market is being flipped upside down, the US the other day had to they had to do an auction. There was no bidders, right? So when you listen to Ian, Ian's a smart guy. So he touched on it. He was like, yeah, we're waiting for the bond market to come back. But what Ian don't realize is if you don't study crypto, then you have no clue about what's about to happen because the stock market is not going to save this country right now. Because those companies are built on the backs of people. And if people are hurting, then yes, Disney is down. Subscriptions are down. This is down. Everything is down right now. Right? I don't care what they do with these interest rates. They can keep printing money and do another round of it. They can cut it back down to 2%. We're not going to avoid the inevitable. Yeah. So when they had the auction the other day, then I had to dig into it a little bit because I wasn't too keen on that world like that. And I dug in, right? So when I dug in, what I found was this auction netted nothing. So that means all this paper debt that we're sitting on, no one's buying it. Banks aren't buying it. Nobody's buying it. So how do we reset the system right now? So when CZ gets taken down, they're able to cripple a lot of things that are happening in crypto, and I'm all for it. Get the shit out the way. Let's get this show on the road, and we've told you guys what's about to happen. So, and I've always told you without stablecoin regulations, nothing's going to move. Now I know for certain. So what they're going to do with the bond market is all your banks, and I told you this before, all your banks are going to be exchanges. The part that I left out is every bank is going to have a stable coin that they're going to transact in. So we already know they have a JP coin, right? So Bank of America have a stable coin. Wells Fargo have a stable coin. So business as usual, guys. The banks are going to come in. They're going to be the on and off ramps, which is what it is now, right? I can't off ramp with Binance. I could off ramp with Coinbase, but it's still connected to my what? My bank account. Okay. So there's no avoiding banks. So this whole situation of like only guys who understand how crypto works would be able to self-custody their own money and move things around. In the last couple of weeks, we've been showing you integration, all these companies that are accepting cryptocurrency. Banks don't want the friction either at the end of the day. They just got so big that they just couldn't fail. But the jig is up because there's new technology out here and you're watching Bitcoin run. And it's just all about scarcity. So of course, the more that you print something or the more accessible something is, the lesser of value it is. So it's like, I'm tired of working so hard to just make ends meet. And I'm a very bright, intelligent person. So this is not easy what people go through here. And I've been an entrepreneur my whole entire life, right? So the banks are now going to be converted into crypto exchanges. Now, the part when Jerome Powell says we can't hold it anymore, it's because the bond market is failing. So what's going to happen is now when the banks convert their paper dollar, it's digital now, but when they convert it into a stable coin, it's going to be still pegged to the dollar, right? The US dollar. And then what they're going to do is they're going to make them buy and back it by bonds. So they're going to be buying these treasury bonds now. Mm-hmm. It's going to keep us afloat. I hate to say it, but the usual suspects are going to be in the room. But we're not worried about that because we kind of know how this product works. And, you know, once you could amass your wealth, we're going to teach you how to move in this industry based on whatever tax laws. Guys, they're always going to have a tax law loophole. Mm-hmm. You're starting to see people getting dual citizenship in different countries. Like, there's ways to move. So now when you get on a flight, champ, you could take millions of dollars on a device on a flight with you, and no one knows nothing.
No one knows a thing. Mm-hmm.
Right? So the days of having 10,000 and having to, you know, to claim it and do all sorts of other shit, those are over. People are, you know, traveling with cold storage wallets right now, and everything is transacting across seas in crypto already. Yeah. And everything's transacting. A lot of things are transacting here. There's mortgage companies accepting crypto payments. There's, you know, you could purchase at damn near every major retailer online has some sort of crypto integration going on with multiple cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. All right. So when I looked at it, I said, okay, so now I get what these guys are going to do. But what they have to do first is they have to get rid of the stable coins. They can't stop the banking situation because fintech companies are always going to be around. So Cash App is a on and off ramp. Well, yeah, I guess Cash App is an on and off ramp. PayPal is a crypto on and off ramp. Stripe is a crypto on and off ramp. Okay, so the fintech companies have already beat the banks to the punch. Okay, and they form their own ecosystem. So it's complementary. You can't get rid of them. So now that the banks are going to be exchanges, they get to now consume the bond market. You know who holds the most, well, a lot of treasury bonds right now from the United States? Tether. Mm-hmm. Over 100 billion. What interest does the United States government have in bringing the case down on Tether right now? Let's be honest. All they want is the information. Yep. Okay. And they're going to get the information from seizing Binance and CZ going to jail for however much time. Mm-hmm. If you're willing to give yourself up within a day of the charge coming down, that means you fucked up. You understand? So the government has everything that they need in the crypto industry. And before they allow the floodgates to open and the institutional guys to come, because when I read the filings, the biggest issue was the wash trading, and everything is starting with Tether and possibly even USDC. So Champ, you could break down how they're washing Tether and converting it into Circle USDC.
All right. So listen, the way this is working right now, I pay real close attention to the data, right? The reserves are the biggest thing when it comes to stable coins. That's the biggest thing. I always told you guys from day one, USDC was going to be the government approved stable coin, right? That's always been my take. Steve can agree. That's his take as well, right? But Tether right now trumped USDC. USDC is a close second. Now, when you look at reserves and you look at the benefits of both, right? This is where the data part comes into play. You have to pay attention to Tether, right? Tether is the one that everybody goes to, has massive trading pairs. You damn near can buy anything using Tether, right? So that's why people have been using it for years. When USDC and Circle came about, this was kind of like a breath of fresh air, because the problem was nobody ever trusted Tether. They only used it because of its availability. It was always there, right? So no matter what you were trying to buy, you had the option there. But when USDC came to tell everybody and show people, hey, listen, we have this in reserves. Our stablecoin is back 1-to-1, and this is what our reserves consist of, right? And what you call this is attestations. So Circle has these on their website. This is transparency. This is what gives Circle USDC the competitive advantage over Tether. But here is how these guys have outsmarted that, right? In crypto, this shit matters. I can't say it no other way, right? But when you're innovative and you know how the system works, you know how to manipulate it, you know how to make things happen, right? So with Tether, what these guys have been doing is Tether props up Bitcoin. Anytime you see a Bitcoin pump, it stems from money being helicopter printed from Tether. You will see, I get alerts, right? And this is just because I've been in the space for years. So I get alerts that tell me anytime that Tether gets minted, they'll print 1 billion Tether out of thin air, right? So when you see that, you're like, okay, where's this going? All of a sudden, it correlates. Same day, damn near within a few hours, if not in the same hour, you'll see Bitcoin pump every time. What's happening is with stablecoins, I don't want to go too far and lose anybody, but what happens is with Tether supporting and propping up Bitcoin, anytime it prints, Bitcoin pumps. So when people notice that, they know, take your money, go into Tether, go into Bitcoin, you'll make your money, you'll make a profit. As soon as you make your profit, where do you go with it? This is where the manipulation comes. Instead of them selling in Tether, they sell now in USDC. So once Tether pumps, it props Bitcoin and it shoots Bitcoin up. You see your profit. Instead of you taking your money out of the market in Tether, you convert it to the trading pair Bitcoin / USDC. So what you're doing is, instead of you hurting the reserves of Tether, it's just more Tether gets printed, right? Which looks like upside. And then on the alternate side, you're draining the reserves of USDC. So if USDC has $1 trillion in its reserves, right? This is just an example. I'm just throwing this out there. They have $1 trillion in reserves, and people make $1 trillion in Bitcoin, and they just want to drain all the reserves that's in USDC. You just sell in USDC and you'll drain it because people are taking their money out in that form, right? So no matter how transparent you are, that's the way these crooks and these swindlers can hustle the system. They can beat the system. The whole time USDC is telling you we're doing the right thing, we're upstanding, we have correlation with the governments, we're working with them, we're not working against them, right? And we're just doing our part. But these people don't care because they're not ready for Tether to die yet. It's going to happen, but they're not ready for it to happen yet. Before we get this Black Swan event, I'm honestly feeling this in my system. That's how it's going to come. Because you see the narrative even today. Jamie Dimon came out and says, you know, Bitcoin is this, is meant for nefarious reasons and fraudsters and all of this craziness, right? But for the last 8 weeks, Bitcoin has been printing nonstop. Now, we told you this was coming. We said it's going to pump. We told you they're going to manipulate it. They're going to put money in. These things are going to go up. But we also told you the Black Swan is coming. So how do you think you're going to get there? Reasons just like this. And all of this is on the blockchain. You can see all of this, all of these transactions, all the movements. You follow these big whales and how they're manipulating and moving money. Everybody who's been going in buying, you know, big buy-ins for like Bitcoin and things like that, most of the time they've been using USDT. And every single time these guys just print $1 trillion, $1 billion, and they're doing this consecutively every single time it pumps. But instead of those guys redeeming it back in Tether, they're just redeeming it into USDC, which is Circle. And now you constantly look at the reserves and the market cap of Circle, of USDC, and you see it consistently making a step down. Go look for yourselves. Go pull up the chart for yourselves. And you guys will see it clear as day. So all they're doing right now is manipulate. They're playing the game. So this is why these talks right here are so important and so vital, because what we're going to do is You can't stop these people from doing how they doing. You can only see it. But if you see how they playing the game, it's giving you vantage. It's almost like you being a fly on the wall and you getting to see these guys transacting millions and billions of dollars at one time. And if you see how they're making money, you can say, okay, all right, I see what they're doing. This is still the better place to have my stable coin. This is more trusted. But in the meantime, this is what's happening. So you just have to be aware so that you know how to maneuver. We're going to show you guys with these alts, because the alts are about to go berserk. We are going to get a pullback. I'm telling you guys now. You know what I mean? This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you guys to just dump your whole bags. I'm just telling you there's going to be a retrace. Because historically, you've seen Bitcoin make these moves for weeks at a time. And then it's going to get to a point, I say probably 48.5, 49,000. And then that's when we're going to do a retrace. And then you're going to start to see alts go crazy because people are going to take their profits and roll their profits from Bitcoin into altcoins. So it's going down. And that's why I asked yesterday in the Discord, we're data tracking. We're trying to figure out who wants spots, who's paying attention, who's actually jumping into spots. Because listen, Steve told you at the top of this call, it's going to happen. So either in these next couple months, either you're going to play the game and you're going to make some money, or you're just going to hold. Choice is yours. Steve, you muted.
This is XC. This is the crypto futures. It's my trading account here. So I put 2 trades in the other day, Bitcoin long and a Solana long. So the Bitcoin long, I'm up about 25,000. It cost about 10,000 to get it to this point. It's up 239%. The Solana long is up about 6,000, and that's up 50% right now. I haven't closed them out, so those are unrealized profits. So guys, this is only from a couple of days, right? So you're looking at close to over 31, close to $32,000. Right now, futures trading. I use leverage 15x, meaning, for every dollar I put up, they match me, for 15 times that. So don't get me wrong, guys, you could also lose this much and not that much, right? Because 10,000 is my only exposure on Bitcoin, but I have stop losses in, so I'm only going to lose a certain percentage if it did hit that, but it hasn't triggered that. And the same thing for Solana. So I would never lose the full amount of what was put into the trade because of the protection. So if you want to learn more about futures trading, listen, tap in. The course is starting now. We had just launched it. Guys, this is life-changing stuff right here. All right. And then the one thing that you have to understand is when you have guys that are teaching you to have time and market, they understand patterns. Crypto's all about patterns, guys.
So guys, I'm telling you, when these guys get these ETFs, they're going to start to create a short market. This is remember, when we're not going to have full regulations around it, we'll just have stablecoin regulations at that point. They are going to make money like it's nobody's business. And this type of stuff is happening within hours, right? This is why I was so hell-bent on making sure that you guys understand how this market works, have access to the right indicators. I just didn't have the bandwidth or the time to really hold hands. So anybody that gets into this future course is going to understand. You have live trading with the guy we partner with, Crypto Cliff. He's going to be showing you, 6 strategies that he uses, watching how the market, how easily the market's manipulated. I mean, guys, there's literally times in the day where the thing's moving the exact same way every single day, right? And then when you get to the end of the year, there's particular dates where things are happening with particular projects. So like Champ told you, the altcoins haven't even pumped yet. They haven't even pumped yet. So, that's the scary part. There's this 6-month window right now. And this is why it almost feels like Champ and I are, it's almost like we feel like we're wasting our time a little bit with the information that we're giving because we don't know who's executing on the stuff. Right? Especially when it comes down to these spots. So when we're giving you things and we're following it, like if we're making 100, 200% on spots, I'm telling you that it's so easy to pick these things apart right now. And the industry is growing in a different way because now it's starting to show you the case use. So when I gave you guys FX1 Sports, these are all things where Champ and I, we just never really taught you guys how to look at the decentralized exchanges versus the centralized exchanges. So when you ever see CEX versus DEX, that's the two. CEX is centralized, Coinbase, Binance, Mexi, you name it, that's centralized. And then you have these decentralized exchanges, which are Uniswap, Pancake, Sushi, and all these guys. There's a ton of them, right? So they're nothing more than a peer-to-peer situation. So this is why there's no KYC on those exchanges, because it's people like me and you giving up our product and then another customer is buying it. So there's no intermediary in between that trade. You understand? The great part about when you start to transact on the DEX is that a lot of these small cap projects that are coming to fruition right now have the most upside. And I'm telling you, I followed every single bull run that we've ever had, and all the data is showing. And it's like every time that they called out a Bitcoin price, it almost 5 to 15 times that amount. So these guys have been calling for $250,000 next year. I totally believe that price is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You got the heavy hitters talking about $500 billion. So there's going to be overseas pressure on this coin on top of the 13 filings that they have now. And then once they get the Bitcoin filing, they're not done with that. They're going to grab ETH now, right? That's going to be the second ETF. But I don't know about the ETH situation, guys. I'll be honest with you. They're about to get pulled in. Anybody that's been in that 1%, that ETH story is going to come back to fruition again. It's not over. Absolutely not. It's not over, guys. So I'm telling you, be careful with that project. Now, when you start to look at the industry as a whole, Champ constantly always saying interoperability. That's kind of the main key. So if you watch the EYL thing, I will point out one thing that did make sense. So Rashad had asked, and this wasn't on the call, but this was in a restaurant. So these guys are just opportunistic. That's all it is. They're not looking to give y'all no fucking information that they have, period. So they're invested in cryptocurrency, right? They're invested with Andreessen and all those guys at A16Z and all that. They just came into that seed round. You would think that if you have a network, wouldn't you want to just raise capital within your network and give everybody opportunity? I'm just asking for a friend or two. Like I can't see making this amount of money and then not being able to teach people when that's the point and the premise of creating it was to share information and knowledge that you get from the outside world. So when they go to Davos, all they doing is showing you pictures on a train. We don't know what rooms they were in, what information they heard, what they bought back. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So the one thing I did get from that is the Lions kid. He's bright, but he's just a Web3 guy. I think the biggest issue, and a lot of people I've been speaking to lately, and they love what Skyton is doing, is because there's nobody really focusing on the education part of crypto. So Champ posted that Ryan Panina guy, he's a big YouTuber, influencer. This guy touches a lot. Now, he said in the video, he was like, if in the next 2 years, if I don't amass tens of millions of dollars in crypto, then I missed it. But he won't teach his community crypto, right? And he said this right in the clip. And Champ, if you want to pull that up and just share it. He was like, because there's no money in him teaching it to people because there's not a big enough audience for him. So I'm like, so who the fuck is going to part the Red Sea for people? Because this crypto is really a middle-class man game. The same way that the internet in the 90s created middle-class wealth for people who, just got fed up with a system back then of the way business was done, saw an innovative approach to it, invested some money early, and everybody benefited. We're sitting in the same position right now. The only difference is we got a ton of information, and you got a ton of people, not just Champ and I, but there's other people on Twitter and other social media platforms that are doing great jobs connecting information. but nobody cares because, like I told you, there really is no money in this crypto situation, guys. If I tell you, you're looking at this trade shit that I just played for you right now, I don't even trade anymore because I'm too fucking busy building all this stuff. And if we don't even know where's, ask Champ. I told him the other day, I'm like, Champ, just pull it. I don't know who it's landing on. Nobody's saying nothing. Nobody's even dropping an emoji inside of Discord.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm out. I'm just going to another room. I'm over on LinkedIn right now. You know what I mean? I'm just like, you know what? I try to keep this thing for our people and do all this other stuff and all that. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm exhausted with this, man. I'm fucking tired. I just need anybody that wants to listen, just pull up a chair.
Facts.
I'm done with the culture, you know, because the culture just wants to see us, you know, doing wheelies and bikes. And I know what we need to do to get to the culture, but I'm not looking to do that.
Right.
You know, it's too serious to look like a buffoon right now.
Yeah,
and we don't need more things. Like I don't want to be the one to excite people in the wrong way because I know that it's just going to trigger them because nobody really wants to put in the work properly like that. So I'm out. I'm going the institutional route. That's it. And then everything I get, I'm going to present opportunity to whoever's a student is a partner. That's how I look at this community. So, you know, every single Black and brown influencer I have reached out to has literally ignored the situation. And now you see these guys trying to, you know, they're fudging it terribly, you know, and it's only because, and they told Champ, one of the founders at EYL at InvestFest, what did the guy say to you, Champ?
It depends on how things are going in the market at that time. Like anything is contingent upon what's happening in the moment, but you got a social responsibility when you have millions of people. This is what you guys signed up for. This is what you do. You are the biggest platform for our people, right? To teach them financial literacy, stocks, bonds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? This is what you guys are monikered as. This is your title in neon lights. What you doing? We in your faces. We in your comments. We everywhere. We patronized InvestFest, right? Had the booth there on purpose. We're in your faces. We've had conversations with these guys. And they're not doing their part. And that's a super disservice. You muted, Steve.
It would be different if they didn't have zero investment or zero knowledge coming through them. Right. So let me tell you how this game works, guys. And I'm gonna be completely honest. I'll blow the lid off this situation. So I have a friend that's really close in that whole inner circle and how it works. And you do not tell the masses shit. So when you start seeing the likes of Steve Harvey, when you start seeing the likes of what's the other billionaire guy? Robert Smith.
Robert Smith, yeah.
Right. You know, these guys aren't hanging out for no apparent reason. They see what the movement is. But like I told you before, once you are following somebody with billionaire aspirations and they aspire to be these guys, when you finally get in the room with them, you know what they tell you? You just give them a little bit so they don't leave, and then just enough for them to stay. Right? You dominate at that level. So, you know, I'm just confused when I watch these brothers because, listen, everybody's new in the space. I'm going to give grace and I'm going to give time for growth, but I'm just seeing like a difference in just like you got the thought leader 19 Keys, and you got Ian, who's, you know, he's on the fence and it's all about, you know, bringing everybody together. And then you got the show pony, and then you got the guy that doesn't say anything, but he's got the family, and it's like you probably get a better perspective as a collective. But when I started to see the founding fathers, when we got to the event, I'm looking at the board, I'm like, oh shit, okay, so these dudes have investments in here. But who are these guys and what do they do? And then you start to study it and you start to see the model, and it's like these people don't see people as people.
Numbers, man.
They see you as a number at the end of the day. So EYL is, you know, that platform is, and I'm telling you, I've paid for the subscription. I have the login to the product. I just see things differently. So what may seem great to somebody who has like zero business experience, to me is just it doesn't fulfill me. I don't need that. I did that a long time ago. You know what I mean? So I'm not sitting here to try to do whatever. It's just you need a more diverse table, right? So when they bought on the Lions kid to the platform to talk cryptocurrency, I was a little stoked about it. We've already had a meeting with that side of the gamut. Okay.
Mhm.
These are institutional guys that are creating crypto investment funds, right? And then they're wrapping it around the guise of minority opportunity for minorities. Because as you know, there was no opportunity for us in Silicon Valley, especially Black women in tech, Black men in tech, right? You don't hear too much about these, the bright minds and what people have created in tech. It's usually just the opposing side. So what these guys have done is they've allocated some capital to the crypto world. So we follow them closely because we follow the projects that they're involved in. And guys, I'm telling you, that Solana ecosystem right now, I called Solana at $22 a year, almost 2 years ago. Okay, and it got up to over $300 at one point. Solana is going to run laps around ETH.
Facts.
I'm telling you, and it's not so much because of that blockchain, but solely because of who is connected to it. They have some of the biggest institutional guys, and they have the best project, I think, in cryptocurrency, which is Helium Mobile right now.
You've seen what it did today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Okay. And Kevin and I just shot a quick little 30-minute situation. He's an actual Helium Mobile user. But when I talk about just case use and what's about to come, sponsorships are lined up, T-Mobile, there's no reason why that coin is 0.0003. Right. It's actually doing the work and it's solving a problem and it works. It works well. Okay. So if you have an opportunity to buy that phone right now, yesterday they just opened it up nationwide. So if you're in the Florida area, Miami, you get it for $5. Anywhere nationwide, it's $20 unlimited right now. I would urge you guys to do it because what happens is you can then turn that phone into a signal as you roam. You're getting paid. This is what cryptocurrency is all about. It's just democratizing the system of that usually does not have us in mind. And that's why I'm so frustrated when people are building these institutions, these universities, and they lose sight of people because they got into the rooms. You know what I'm saying? They got into the rooms with a bunch of weirdos that are doing weird things, but nobody's talking about that stuff. Everybody signed a revolt, but nobody's revolting.
Right. Ooh, that's a ball. Hold on,
niggas,
run that back.
Niggas kill me.
Hold on, run that back, bro.
They signed a revolt, but nobody's revolting. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if my partner is involved in notorious activities, I have to check it at the door. It affects everything. Everybody's affected by it.
Wow.
That's just saying it's a question. You question everything else. If that was Lil Wayne, he'd be cooked right now. If it was such and such, he'd be cooked. But you never bite the hand that feeds you.
Right.
Until the people turn on you. And then what do you do at that point now? Now you see blind loyalty. And that's what that whole world is built on. So what these guys have access to is they have access to information. I can guarantee you, if you look at their bag, they have cryptocurrency sitting in those bags.
For sure.
Straight up. You don't have Mike Novogratz and all these dudes on your thing without getting information. The guys are opportunists. They just play slick with what they tell you. So that clip with Champ, go ahead and pull up that other clip. Let me pull something up real quick.
I got it. Let me share.
I want you guys to start listening to a lot of guys. And it's not just EY, it's a whole lot of these guys right now. And I told you that once crypto starts to pump, you're going to start to see a lot of weirdos coming out the woodworks.
Facts. All right.
This guy has he influences millions of people. Real estate products, you name it. Kid is sharp. He articulates well. He shoots incredible content. Listen to this shit.
Big problem that I had in the last bull run was that I wasn't prepared. In 2017, I got burned and I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then by the time 2020 hit, Bitcoin was back and it was 20K, 30K. I was like, oh man, why didn't I buy it at 3K? Yep. I wasn't prepared. And then now that I have like almost 8 years of, experience in it, I'm like, okay, dude, this next one, I'm gonna kill it.
Crypto is the middle class's answer to be able to compete on a playing field that they don't have any other chance of ever competing in.
The middle class is never going to get rich from stocks.
they're never. It's absolutely impossible. But I can really confidently say that if somebody buys Bitcoin today, within the next 18 months, you're going to be able to sell that for 3 times as much.
I agree. If I don't make 8 figures in crypto
Yeah.
in the next couple of years, there's a problem. The big problem that
They're telling you. They're telling you. I can't tell you no other way. We've been doing this, and we not doing this for. Listen, we not doing this for our health. Did you, yo? Do me a favor, y'all. Put this into perspective. This is episode 38. Connect. Every time we have something that we're giving, Steve's #1 mission from day one, I'm talking about since I met him, lead with value. This is episode 38. We come on here, we bomb on y'all every single time. And we're not talking at y'all, we're talking to y'all, right? We're educating you guys and telling you what's happening, what's going to happen, how you can position yourself so you can benefit from what's going to happen. And we tell you and educate you on how you can structure your bags, how you can position yourselves to even do all of this stuff. We're instructing, we're educating you guys, right? We're not just throwing paint at the wall hoping something sticks. Everything has a purpose. These guys ain't doing that. Now tell me this, did y'all pay to come on this live? Or was this free? This
Free.
time that we giving you, that we can't get back, we ain't charge y'all for nothing. This is what we about. These other folks, man, they not doing this. And I'm not even calling nobody name in particular. I'm just telling you, period. 95% of these people, they're just not doing it. They're not. Everybody's worried about the bag. They only care about the bag. Yes, that's cool. But what you gonna gain from you having the bag and then gatekeeping, and then everybody else got their hand out? Everybody else around you need bread. Now you fool. You become the plate. We feeding everybody around us, everybody that comes in our midst, in our cipher. You come on here, you get free gems. We've been telling y'all about Helium. We bought we bought execs from Helium onto the platform. You got to play. We told you how you could set up miners. You got to play. We now showed you, Steve just shot something else today. He's telling you in real time, now that this thing is starting to go nationwide, right? All value, all value, all value. Now they just had the partnership with the University of Miami. It's up 50%. Helium is up 50%, dogs. I can't explain this. Like, it's up 50% in a day. All you had to do was listen, learn, execute. It's that simple. And we just getting started. The players that's behind that, that's the Solana ecosystem. The players that's all involved with this. And listen, I've always said ETH itself, it was like a beta. Bitcoin, it was the beta. These were test beds. Now that you see these big dogs, these big behemoths coming in,
Chris Lyon situation.
they all coming in here for this purpose, right? They're
all
coming
these people that I'm telling you guys, like,
to situate themselves to be able to benefit off the technology that exists. It solves real world problems. So if you're not here paying attention to utility coins that solve real world problems, you're doing yourself a disservice. We didn't create the 1% for no reason. Now we got the VIP, we got the futures calls. All of these products are getting created for the purpose of y'all. This is how you guys can eat in the now. We know the 1% is not necessarily right now, but you have to position yourself. We now have the partnership with Stripe, so now we have the on-ramp, right? Now you can purchase your crypto directly from Skyton. You don't have to worry about these long, drawn-out wait periods and hold periods, right? There's no friction for y'all as customers, as retail investors. We're trying to eliminate all the problems that we can possibly see so that y'all get the benefits. I don't know nobody else who's doing that. I mean, I don't know. That's why I tip my hat to my partner, because I mean, he pushed me to my limits. And it's like, yo, we two big dogs in the kitchen. It's like, yo, bro, either you gonna grab the pot and whip up, or I'm taking off. You know what I mean? What you gonna do? I bet. I see you. I raise you. Let me do this. And that's what we do all day long, nonstop. So when Steve was telling you that last month was the hardest month, that was real. And that came from building. These verticals ain't no joke. And I'm not a systems guy. I'm a hands-on person, right? But this guy right here, stretching people to their limits, that's the key. Because it all trickles down into success for everybody else and everybody in the cipher. But I'm done.
So listen, this is gonna put it all in perspective for you guys, right?
Peoples is legend. And we've introduced you to a variety of other different people. Ryan Glover, he's another these people that I'm telling you about, right? You, as an intelligent person, you should be Googling these people to find out who they are, to see how you can add value to them, to see how you can get next to them, some of their thought processes, the Dave Grosses of the world. Because these are people that are not celebrities, that don't have 1 million followers on social media, but these are the real people that's really moving things out there. So, and they're all Black. So that's important. When I'm not just saying these people's names, but I'm actually saying those names to actually potentially help you. Because if you don't know who they are, you don't even, you just walk right past them. Megan. Yep, exactly. So, all right, Chris Lyons, he's the guy that actually started the Cultural Leadership Fund. So Megan is the head of the Cultural Leadership Fund with Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z. Andreessen Horowitz is one of the largest venture capital firms in the world. In Horowitz, it's our guy. Casually. Yeah. He's a guy. So Chris is a very interesting guy, but he is part of Andreessen Horowitz and started the Cultural Leadership Fund, even though he doesn't work on the Cultural Leadership Fund anymore. He actually started it. Now he's on the crypto side. He's a prodigy. Yeah, he does everything. He's a prodigy. He's invested in Clubhouse. He's doing all kinds of stuff. I'll let you finish those, but he comes under the tutelage of Ben Horowitz, right? So they saw his potential. They saw how incredible his work ethic was, his brilliance. And they're like, look, we're going to help you just become better at what you're doing. And outside of what comes from that is the Cultural Leadership Fund. So, all right. So that's who Chris Lyons is for background reference. So the other day in LA, me and AB, we end up having.
This is where it's at.
It's a very random occasion. And we sit down to you, or we all go. We can't tell the location. It was. Yeah, we ain't gonna give our spot. That's our spot. That's our spot. That's our spot. We frequent there. They're gonna be waiting with their Sales. I knew they was coming in there, y'all. They're gonna be waiting with their
It's Lavo.
tips. But all right.
They said it on YouTube, in case anybody's inquiring.
We're just talking, and he's a very big crypto enthusiast. So I'm asking him, I'm like, all right, just give me the real. Is it over? The gig up. Just be honest with me. It's the gig up. I know. And he was like, bro, like it didn't even start yet. Like it didn't even start yet. And he said something that was extremely insightful to me. He was like, the problem that everybody's making right now with crypto and Web3 and NFTs is that they're all looking at it individually, singular. He's like, it's not going to work like that. He's like, it's only going to work when it's embedded and they're all working together. And you don't even realize that it's actually working. And the example that he gave was GPS. He was like, when GPS was first created, it was, a revolutionary technology, and it has been beneficial for people just to use GPS on its own. He's like, but the real application in GPS is the things you don't even think about. He was like, let's take Uber. Right? He's like, Uber runs off GPS. There's no Uber without GPS. He's like, another application with Uber is payment processing. He's like, no, payment processing is on their own, but how many things are integrated with payment processing that you don't even realize, right? So if you look at it like that, Uber, so there's no Uber without GPS. There's no Uber without payment processing. There's no Uber without a smartphone, right? There's no Uber without effective Wi-Fi. All of these things merge together and create a great company like Uber, right? So he was like, when the crypto, the NFTs, the Web3, the blockchain, all of that, the AI, all of that at one point is all going to merge. It's not going to be just look at ChatGPT by itself. Let's invest in Bitcoin by itself. Let's buy a Bored Ape by itself. All of that is going to merge to the point where it's going to be a very organized package. You're not even going to fully realize it. And that's the real evolution of this Web3 technology. And so he's like, we're a long way away from that. 10 years. He didn't give a set time frame, but he said we said some time away. But he was like, so his theory was that this is still early. People still haven't figured it out. Corporations still haven't figured it out. But when they do figure it out, cryptocurrency is going to be at the center of that as far as the finance part of it. And it's only going to go up from there. He also said Bitcoin, Ethereum leading the way, obviously. That's the safest play in the situation. He talked about a few others, but
you name one other that he named for the audience?
Here we go.
I forgot it.
You see this guy?
I did.
Watch their body language.
I promise I forgot.
Look.
That's a good angle. The beat is playing on fire. I can't sing that fall all night. We have to prep for the show. Gotta fly back. All money in editing. Got you.
All money in, no money out. But so I just think that, that's an interesting take. And I think, it's when he said it like that, I'm like, damn, I never really thought about it, especially the GPS thing. So we'll see.
All money in, no money out. All money in, no money out. You telling me that this guy forgot what he told him was the biggest coin or coins, but he remembered Bitcoin and Ethereum, obviously. And you see the body language of these guys too, right? All of them.
Thanks.
Even the married guy, he was kind of like, why not share? It's not investment advice. We don't ever give you guys investment advice, but what we do is we consume data and we can articulate it in a way that people could understand, common people. Right? So it's obvious that crypto is the future, and EYL believes this. It's obvious by looking at that clip. It's obvious that they're connected with A16Z. It's obvious. I know about these funds. It's obvious that they're invested in these vehicles. It's obvious that they have relationship with guys who are running particular projects in the industry. It's obvious. This is why they bought those crypto guys on. But the problem with those crypto guys is they're not ready to give you that information yet, because they need you to be exit liquidity for them. Okay? So these are the guys that are buying the projects early. And then they're going to play dumb and act like they're protecting you. But we don't need you to tell us what to buy really like that or to buy. We just need you to bring people on the platform that have a teaching a platform that teaches people about cryptocurrency and just the basics of it. Because when you go through our boot camp, we're not telling you any one particular project, but if you listen to enough of our lives, you don't really ever have to really do much outside of just paying attention.
Right.
So I'm just telling you that when these guys are sitting inside of these rooms and they're getting that sort of information, and this is why I'm so happy that this year is about to be over in a minute, and we're moving into implementation. We're moving into corporate sponsorship, corporate partnerships, because that's when we're going to actually get the real information. And guess who's going to bring that information back and package it to the people who are part of the community? I mean, what else are you supposed to do when you have a responsibility to teach financial literacy in the future of finance? Like, I'm not taking this shit lightly.
At all.
We are the biggest, period. And time will tell. Like the guy said, you cannot get wealthy in the stock market. We missed that boat already. Like those guys that are playing the stock market, they were in those innovative tech companies from back in the 90s. This is when they used to trick people out of their bags back then too. But the only difference is information wasn't flowing the way it's flowing right now. Listen, these guys are using you for exit liquidity because nobody wants to have bright people in the room to be able to catch opportunity that they're catching at the same time. That shit ain't right. That's not right, because you're not that far removed from the culture. You're not that far removed for the culture to be acting like this.
Mm-hmm.
The power is in the people at the end of the day, not these motherfuckers who's using people for exit liquidity. That's the only reason. So the minute that we have a conversation with somebody and we see that's where it's going, conversation meeting is over.
Over, it's dead.
We're not going to sacrifice our people for some money. And we have opportunity to do that. Like this is the opportunity that exists, in especially in a space like this.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that has any sort of following with cryptocurrency, we drop in the chat another cryptocurrency educator that you guys follow that you like, yeah, they're good. And be completely honest with it.
Mm-hmm.
Who? BitBoy? Mason? Coach JV? Who? Tell me who this person is.
We do this, man. We do this. And that's not a dig. You know what I mean? That's real. It's just we do this.
I'm gonna tell you how rare this situation is that we have here. I've reached out to, and I'm gonna bring these brothers on the platform too. There's a couple young boys that's out there. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to wait for the fluff to go away. The NFT guys, the guys wearing masks, telling you to make all this money, like they're out of here now, right? So now I'm able to pay attention to exactly what's happening, and there's some bright people in this space. So I've been reaching out to them, and they've been cool because they have the data that we have. They have a particular way of thinking. They have other things that they do too, which is a good mix. So I'm going to them and they're like, this is kind of genius, but they're like, oh, why do you want to do this for? Nobody wants to work with each other. I'm like, but I don't view you as competition.
Right.
I'm in my own lane. Champ ain't competition. I've done told y'all he got the crown. I'm not arguing this situation here. You know what I'm saying? I got my own skill set. I'm in my own lane.
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? I'm really put here to disseminate information on people, to be able to build systems where it's easy for you guys to follow it. And I don't care who choose. That's it. Your success is my success. Period. So when I see things like this, I'm like, yo, this is disheartening, because it's like, yo, these dudes is laughing, man. They sound like these counterparts, man. You're starting to see the mannerisms, the confidence, man. They're using us for exit liquidity. That ain't right.
That shit is whack.
You got fucking information, share information, but I get it. They sworn to secrecy. This is what happens when you cross over into these worlds. You sign these little NDAs and you could talk about this, but you can't talk about that. Well, that's not ready to be released to the public yet. They need liquidity.
Goofy. Word.
So you telling me at the point where we're at right now, when they're talking about by 2050, and if that data is even correct, I don't even buy into that situation, because like I said, if I'm at the realm of this, along with side with Champ, there's no way that the African-American community's net worth is going to be zero. Not if I have something to do with that. But it is headed towards that way. Right? The way that things are going, guys, once the automation comes into play, how well do you think our community is going to be able to pivot when there's no opportunity? We're not positioning our youth in AI and emerging tech and things like that. We barely want to hear what the hell it is. So how were you even thinking that you're going to prepare your children for this? So 2024, we dropping a children's book. You know, we got that sector coming out. I'm just tired of talking to old heads who just think that, you know, a horse is still a mode of transportation and there'll never be cars. Oh, there'll never be a self-driving car. Fuck you talking about? We here now, guys. Like this, there's no way that the technology, it just stops.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible for innovation to stop. This is the fourth industrial revolution. Every single one, it's like a broken record, has been catapulted by technology. So what can be bigger than the internet? How much better than the internet just get now that you can talk into something, it can give you the information that you need in real time and write all the data and emails that you need in a great manner. We couldn't do that 4 or 5 years ago, and AI has been around for a decade now.
Yep.
So when we bring you companies like Link2 that's on the platform that's looking to democratize systems, I'm not teaching democratization to be centralized in my thought process. They're centralized. Mm-hmm. We're decentralized. Yeah, we have to put a price to it for obvious reasons, right? It's time and market. Champ's been in it since 15. I've been in it since 15. You got two guys that analyze things from different paradigms that bring you information that is changing lives because I get the DMs of how many people are up already in the market with more upside to go.
Multi-millionaires created. Facts.
No, you telling me with all this innovation that's going on right now, these dudes are sticking to like NVIDIA and all these chip companies and things like that. That's as far as they're taking you because it's all based and wrapped around the stock market. Yeah. That shit ain't it. And what I'm just telling you guys is be careful out here of who you're following and the information that they're giving. You have to question all things and start to question people and what they have to offer. Nobody needs basic courses in dying industries. It's just dumb. I'm not hating. I've been saying this. Every stage they pulling me off. Like they don't even fucking want me out there no more. So I got to do my own shows now. I got to form my own community. I have to, bring young brothers up who's like, yo, why are you doing this for? Is this the type of conversations I have? I'm like, damn, we're gonna spend 15 minutes on like, why am I doing this? They thinking it's an angle. I don't have no angle. I'm coming with my community in mind. Like, yo, listen, let's put this together. So Crypto Cliff, being one of the first, I've been watching his brother for a minute. And I had students who were friends of his that had good things to say about him, and the synergy is just there. So, we're presenting to you what we feel is probably one of the better projects that we've put out because it can change lives. Come on, man. These Fortune 500 companies, these doors are shuttering like nobody's business, man. Start asking yourself why. This is the information we're putting in front of you right now. So when you're seeing the Walgreens, the CVS, and all these, the Rite Aids and everybody closing, I see opportunity, really. Because where's that industry going right now? That's why Jeff Bezos bought Whole Foods, so he can get into the pharmaceutical industry. What did they just launch the other day? They got a fucking health insurance plan. This is what we do. We could break down things so you start to realize. So when you putting that cotton swab in your mouth and you putting it in a bag to figure out where the fuck you came from, that's nothing more than that's a pharmaceutical company right there. They're not doing you no favors to tell you that you're from Africa or Eastern Europe and all that other stuff. What are you gonna do with the information when you get it? You're not even realizing that these companies have been bought up by pharmaceutical companies. They know every disease that you have in your body right now. They're about to market to you. So we're here to just teach you guys how to just move correctly. Nothing convenient is great. I'm telling you that right now. I'm totally convinced that convenience is just an illusion. It dumbs us down. You fucking forgot what the project was? This guy's amazing, man.
Yeah, man. You know what's crazy to me? So they had
actually, you know what? Cut this. Just to recap, the bond market, the treasury bond market is going to be bought up by stablecoins that are going to be owned and operated by banks. That's where we're going. You're going to see banks shutting down Q1, Q2, right? Those are going to be the banks that hold the most commercial assets right now. All the commercial paper is coming up for maturity right now. These guys are going to hand over the keys, okay? You're going to start to see companies shutting down a lot, right? They're going to flip the switch. What I'm telling you guys is if you want to create massive wealth, you have to understand where the money is going. So when $1 trillion is moving out of the banking system, you start to follow where it's moving to. So gold hit an all-time high the other day, but it's gold. That shit is old. It's dumb. It's in abundance all over the world. And don't listen to those gold guys. I'm telling you that shit right now. It is a hedge against inflation. I do hold some gold, but I'm telling you that there's nothing that you can do with that thing outside of wearing it. You cannot break it down for store value. Go silver.
Yes.
You understand? Go silver. It's more rare. Now start to look at commodities and what's happening all across the world. These guys are going to need things to run these batteries. So you start to look at copper. Okay. So you're going to get the government has to squeeze to have enough banks shut down so that way they can have the big five could control a majority of the industry. So that's like having 5 big centralized exchanges where everything is running through. where the government has its controls in place, but in exchange for it, they're going to buy these treasury bonds, which is going to save the entire United States to not go into like, triple digit inflation. You understand? So you're starting to see it. I told you guys, the market has been supposed to crash, but it's election season right now. So gas is like $2 now. And I'm like, whoa, you're never going to see so much opportunity right now to make money right before elections. And I'm telling you that when these guys come with these ETFs, there's so much money to be made in this future market that's unregulated right now, because that's the space that these guys are going to play in. It's going to create massive wealth. It's super easy to look at. And if I'm telling you that I'm working alongside a Cliff and I'm watching guys in his community making salaries with my own eyes. This is the partnership that I formed. They're making salaries in a week. 30K, 31K. I'm like, position still open, chilling. 15X, no sign of a market turning right now. They're propping the market up. They're pumping the market. This is the time to make the money. If you guys have never been through a bull run before, then you don't know. If this kid is talking about how many figures did he say? How many figures did he say in that video, that Panina kid? 8.
8 figures.
8 figures, guys. That's 10 million minimum. So how come nobody is feeding y'all this information for? And I keep asking y'all, what is the value of the information that we're giving y'all? Y'all keep saying priceless. So let's go, let's execute. Turn this shit off and let's talk that shit.
All right. Listen, we're going to cut the recording.